Welcome to Glisso English. Real life stories.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're looking at a struggle many of us know too well, the body image battle. We'll follow the story of someone heading back to the gym after a long illness, feeling judged, tired, and out of place. As we go through the chapters, we'll look at how to handle these tough, real-life moments while picking up the English vocabulary you need to talk about your feelings and your health. Let's jump into Chapter 1. The air in the parking lot was crisp, but Leo's palms were damp against the steering wheel. He stared at the glowing neon sign of the Apex Fitness Center. For 3 years, this place had been his second home. Then came the illness, 6 months of hospital beds, bland soup, and watching his muscles seem to melt away. He looked down at his reflection in the rearview mirror. His face was thinner, his eyes shadowed. "It's just a gym," he whispered. "People go there to sweat, not to stare." He grabbed his gym bag. It felt unnervingly heavy, a physical reminder of how much strength he had lost. As he walked toward the glass doors, his heart hammered against his ribs, not from exercise, but from anxiety. The automatic doors slid open with a hiss. The smell hit him instantly, a mix of rubber mats, cleaning spray, and determination. The music was loud, a thumping bass that felt like it was mocking his slow heartbeat. At the front desk, a young woman with bright athletic gear smiled. "Welcome back. Scan your card here." Leo fumbled with his keychain. His fingers felt clumsy. When the scanner beeped green, he felt a strange urge to turn around and run back to the safety of his car. He felt exposed, as if his weakness was written in bold letters across his forehead. He stepped onto the main floor. To his left, a man was deadlifting a weight that Leo used to handle easily. To his right, a group was laughing by the water fountain. Leo pulled his hoodie tighter, trying to disappear into the fabric. He wasn't just battling his physical limits today. He was battling the version of himself that used to belong here. Leo found a quiet corner near the stretching mats, tucked away from the heavy lifting platforms. He dropped his bag, his breath already a bit shallow just from the walk across the floor. He looked toward the wall-to-wall mirrors. In the past, he had used these mirrors to check his form, to make sure his back was straight and his shoulders were set. Now he used them to compare. In his mind, he saw the old Leo, broad-shouldered, energetic, lifting 50-pound dumbbells without a second thought. But the glass reflected the new Leo, a man who looked frail in an oversized t-shirt. "Don't look," he muttered to himself, but his eyes wouldn't move. He picked up a pair of 5-pound weights. They felt humiliatingly light, yet his forearms began to shake almost immediately. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw a group of teenagers laughing near the bench press. His stomach tightened. "Are they laughing at me?" he wondered. "Do they see how weak I've become?" He tried a simple set of bicep curls. By the 8th repetition, a sharp sting of fatigue flared in his arms. He had to stop. He sat on the edge of the bench, staring at his shoes. The frustration was a physical weight, heavier than any iron plate in the room. He felt like a ghost haunting his own life, trying to do things his body had forgotten how to do. Just as he was about to pack up and leave, he noticed an older man nearby. The man was moving slowly, using a cane to steady himself between machines. He wasn't looking at anyone else. He was focused entirely on his own breath. Leo took a deep breath of his own. He realized the ghost in the mirror wasn't haunting him. He was haunting himself by refusing to accept where he was today. Leo moved to the shoulder press machine.
It was a simple movement, but today it felt like he was performing on a stage under a bright spotlight. Every time he adjusted the pin to a low weight, he looked around nervously. Clink. The sound of the metal pin felt like a dinner bell, calling everyone to witness his struggle. A woman on the treadmill nearby glanced his way. Or did she? Leo quickly looked at his shoes. He was convinced she was thinking, why is he even here if he's lifting that little? This was the spotlight effect. In Leo's mind, he was the main character of a tragedy. To everyone else, he was just another person in a blue t-shirt. He sat down and gripped the handles. His shoulders felt stiff. He managed 3 repetitions before his breath hitched. He felt conspicuous, as if his illness had left a visible mark on his skin that said, recovering. Suddenly, a shadow fell over him. A tall trainer with a clipboard stopped just a few feet away. Leo's heart skipped. Here it comes, he thought. He's going to tell me I'm doing it wrong or that I'm blocking the machine. Mind if I jump in for a set of rows behind you? The trainer asked casually. He didn't look at Leo's weights. He didn't look at Leo's shaking arms. He was looking at his own clipboard, checking his schedule. Oh, sure, go ahead, Leo stammered. The trainer nodded and moved on. No judgment, no lecture, no laughter. Leo sat still for a moment, letting the adrenaline fade. The imaginary eyes that had been watching him were just that, imaginary. The heavy weight he felt wasn't on the machine, it was the pressure he was putting on himself to be invisible.
The adrenaline from his small interaction with the trainer gave Leo a dangerous burst of confidence. He felt a sudden, stubborn urge to prove something, to the gym, to the mirrors, and to himself. He walked over to the leg press machine. I can do more than this, he whispered. He moved the pin down 3 plates. It was still less than half of what he used to lift, but for his post-illness body, it was a mountain. Leo sat down, took a deep breath, and pushed. His legs trembled. His face turned a deep shade of red. He managed 1 repetition, then 2. On the 3rd, his vision blurred slightly. His breath came in ragged, sharp gasps. Suddenly, a wave of nausea hit him. His knees felt like they were made of water. He let the weights slam back into place with a loud, metallic crash. He sat there, doubled over, his forehead resting on his cool, damp knees. He had pushed too hard, too fast. He had ignored the quiet warnings his body had been sending him all morning. He wasn't just tired, he was depleted. You okay, man? A voice asked. Leo looked up, blinking. It was a guy in a worn-out sweatshirt who had been lifting nearby. He wasn't judging. He looked genuinely concerned. Yeah, he panted, his voice thin. Just pushed a bit too much. First day back. The guy nodded knowingly. Take it easy. The iron isn't going anywhere. It'll be here tomorrow, too. Leo waited for the dizzy spell to pass. He realized that recovery wasn't a race he could win by sprinting. He had to learn a new language, the language of his own limits. He had to learn that saying no to 1 more rep wasn't a failure. It was a strategy for staying in the game.
Leo sat on a bench near the water fountain, his head still spinning slightly from the leg press. He felt a shadow fall over him and looked up, expecting the gym manager to ask if he was okay, or worse, tell him he was making a scene. Instead, it was the older man he had noticed earlier, the one with the cane. Up close, Leo saw the man wore a faded marathon t-shirt from 10 years ago. He moved with a slow, deliberate rhythm, placing his cane carefully on the rubber floor before sitting on the bench next to Leo. The first week is the ghost week, the man said, his voice raspy but kind. Leo blinked, wiping sweat from his forehead. The ghost week? Aye, your mind thinks it's still the old you, but your body is a stranger. You're fighting a ghost. I spent 3 months just walking to that fountain and back after my hip surgery. People thought I was just fond of the water." Leo gave a weak laugh. "I felt like everyone was watching me fail that last set." The man gestured with his cane toward the sea of people. "Look at them, son. That girl on the stair climber is worried about her breakup. That guy over there is worried about his promotion. Most people aren't watching you. They're too busy fighting their own ghosts." For the first time all morning, Leo's shoulders dropped. The tension he had been carrying started to dissolve. He wasn't the only one there with a broken story. "I'm Arthur," the man said, extending a weathered hand. "Leo," he replied, shaking it. The grip was firm. "See you Wednesday, Leo? Don't let the ghost win." Leo watched Arthur slowly stand up and head toward the exit. He realized he had found something better than a workout partner. He had found a perspective. He wasn't a victim of his illness. He was a trainee in a new kind of strength.
After the high of meeting Arthur, Leo returned home and collapsed onto his sofa. His muscles felt like lead, but his mind was racing. Habitually, he pulled out his phone and opened a fitness app. Big mistake. His feed was a flood of Transformation Tuesday posts. He saw influencers doing backflips, friends hitting personal records, PRs, and ads for supplements promising instant strength. One post featured a guy who had been ill at the same time as Leo, but he was already back to running marathons. The insecurity crawled back into his chest. On his small screen, everyone's life looked like a highlight reel of success. Nobody was posting about dizzy spells on the leg press or feeling invisible in a crowded room. "I'm so far behind," he whispered to the empty room. He looked at an old photo of himself on his own profile, the old Leo from a year ago. He looked tan, strong, and happy. He felt a sharp pang of envy, not for someone else, but for his own past. He was stuck in a comparison trap, measuring his difficult recovery against a polished, digital version of reality. Then he remembered Arthur's words. Most people are fighting their own ghosts. Leo looked at the marathon runner's photo again. This time, he didn't just see the muscles. He noticed the caption, "Third try this month. Finally felt okay today." It wasn't effortless. It was a struggle for them, too. Leo closed the app and set his phone face down on the table. He realized that digital perfection was a filter, and his real-life progress, as slow as it felt, was the only thing that actually mattered.
Wednesday arrived, and Leo's muscles still felt a bit tender. In the past, he would have stayed in bed, waiting until he felt 100%. But today, he had a different plan. He wasn't going to the gym to crush it. He was going to collect a micro-goal. When he stepped through the doors, the smell of the gym didn't trigger anxiety this time. It triggered a sense of routine. He didn't look at the heavy racks or the seasoned athletes. Instead, he pulled a small notebook from his bag. On the first page, he wrote 1. 10 minutes on the treadmill, walking pace. 2. 3 sets of 10 body weight squats. 3. Drink a full bottle of water. These were his small wins. To the old Leo, this would have been a warm-up. To the current Leo, this was a milestone. He started the treadmill. As he walked, he didn't look at the speed or the calories burned. He focused on the rhythm of his feet. Left, right, left, right. He felt a bead of sweat on his forehead, not from a fever this time, but from effort. It felt invigorating. When he finished his squats, his legs were tired, but he wasn't gasping for air. He checked his notebook and felt a surge of genuine pride. He wasn't chasing a ghost anymore. He was building a foundation. "Slow and steady, Leo," he heard a familiar raspy voice say. He looked up to see Arthur nearby, doing slow arm circles. Arthur pointed to his notebook. "Logging the progress?" "Just the small stuff," Leo said, smiling. "The small stuff is the only stuff that lasts. The giants are built from pebbles, son." Leo realized that by shrinking his goals, he had expanded his confidence. He wasn't failing to be his old self, he was succeeding at being his new self. Monday morning arrived with a heavy gray sky and a mountain of emails. Leo's boss was stressed. A project deadline had been moved up, and by 5 p.m., Leo felt like a battery at 1%. The thought of the gym felt like a chore, not a triumph. His legs felt heavy, and his mind was whispering, "You're too tired. You've worked enough. One missed day won't matter." This was a relapse, not of his illness, but of his old habits. He sat in his car, staring at his gym bag in the passenger seat. The excitement of the small wins from last week had vanished. All he could see were the months of hard work still ahead of him. The mountain looked too high to climb again. "Why am I even doing this?" he muttered. "I'll never be that strong guy again." He almost turned the key to drive home, but then he remembered a phrase Arthur had used. "The giants are built from pebbles." Leo realized that motivation is a fair weather friend. It's there when the sun is shining, but it disappears when life gets difficult. What he needed wasn't motivation, he needed discipline. He didn't promise himself a full workout. He made a deal. "I will just go inside and change into my gym clothes. If I still want to leave after 5 minutes, I can." He walked in. The gym was packed, the Monday night rush. The noise was overwhelming, and the imaginary eyes felt like they were back. But Leo didn't look at the mirrors. He didn't look at the athletes. He walked straight to the stretching area and sat down. 5 minutes passed, then 10. He did one set of stretches, then another. He didn't break any records that night. He didn't even lift a weight. But as he walked back to his car 30 minutes later, he felt a different kind of strength. He hadn't defeated the gym. He had defeated the version of himself that wanted to give up. By his third week, the gym had stopped being a battlefield for Leo. It was becoming a neighborhood. He noticed things he had been too anxious to see before. He saw a woman in the corner practicing yoga, her eyes closed in deep concentration. He saw a group of powerlifters cheering for a friend who was struggling with a heavy squat. He even saw a teenager, the same age as the ones he thought were laughing at him, fumbling with a machine, looking just as clueless as Leo had felt on day one. The lens through which Leo viewed the world was shifting. He was no longer looking for judgment. He was looking for commonalities. One afternoon, while Leo was doing his modified push-ups, he saw a newcomer standing near the entrance. The man looked exactly like Leo had 3 weeks ago, shoulders hunched, eyes darting around, grip tight on a brand-new gym bag. The man looked paralyzed by the noise and the crowd. In the past, Leo would have looked away, afraid to make eye contact. But today, he felt a strange sense of responsibility. He finished his set, wiped his brow, and caught the man's eye. "The first day is the hardest," Leo said, offering a small, encouraging nod. "It gets better after the first 10 minutes. The man's posture relaxed instantly. He let out a long, shaky breath. "Thanks. I haven't been in a gym in years." "Me neither," Leo admitted. "Just take it one step at a time." As Leo walked to the cable machine, he realized he wasn't the ghost anymore. He was a regular. He wasn't there to be watched. He was there to belong. The battle with his body image hadn't ended with a perfect physique. It had ended with a sense of empathy. It had been 8 weeks since Leo first stood trembling in the parking lot. Today, he walked through the automatic doors without breaking his stride. He didn't pull his hoodie tight anymore. In fact, he had traded it for a simple gym shirt that showed his arms.
arms that were still smaller than they used to be, but firm with resilience. Leo went to the rack and picked up a pair of 15-pound dumbbells. As he began his set, he didn't look at the bodybuilders to see if they were watching. He looked in the mirror, but the ghost was gone. Instead of seeing what he had lost, he saw what he had reclaimed. He noticed Arthur sitting on a nearby bench, watching a young woman struggle with her first set of squats. Arthur caught Leo's eye and gave a slow, knowing wink. Leo realized that strength didn't just mean how much iron he could move. Strength was showing up when he felt weak. Strength was being kind to himself when his body failed. As Leo finished his final repetition, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He wasn't the strongest person in the room, and he wasn't the fastest, but he was the most consistent. A newcomer approached the water fountain looking lost. Leo didn't hesitate. "The cups are usually kept in that cabinet," Leo said with a warm smile. "Thanks," the man replied, looking relieved. "First day, I'm a bit nervous." We all were, and he truly meant it. Leo walked out of the gym and into the cool evening air. He realized that the body image battle wasn't a war he had to win against his reflection. It was a journey of making peace with his own skin. He wasn't just healthy again, he was transformed. He was the new strong. That brings us to the end of Leo's journey in the body image battle. It's a reminder that we are all fighting our own invisible ghosts, but showing up is the biggest win of all. I hope this story helped you feel a bit more confident, both in the gym and in your English journey. Before you go, don't forget to solve the quiz in the YouTube quiz section. It's a great way to see how many of today's new words you've mastered. See you in the next story.